Now I'm starting to get thunder, lightning, and you can see what my trail looks like. It's all mud through here. And I think that's the heaviest rain I ever set up a tent or hammock in. I will be backpacking in the Porcupine Mountains, 2 days, 1 night. I'll be going to the Escarpment Trail. It's only 1/8 of a mile. I will be coming back tomorrow on the Government Peak Trail. Right now, Escarpment Trail. And here you have an old copper mining area from 1856. You still see where they did some digging. And here I'll be coming up to the first view from up on top of the cliffs here. As you see, it's a very windy day today. And this will be the next opening on the trail. And I'm still going uphill. And here you can see a lake of the clouds off in the distance. You can see the excellent views I have. The river down there. And right there is Government's Peak. I'll be climbing that tomorrow. And now right here I'll be coming up to a campsite. And we stayed at this campsite last year. And this is a campsite with a fire ring. And check out this setup that someone has. And you can see how close they are to the cliffs. And here's a map showing where I am right now. Here I come up to a sign. Got 2 miles to a lookout. There's a mine site over here to the right. And this was the old mine site. You can see it's all dug out right here. And here's some old wheel from one of their mining cars. And some more debris from the mine site. And that must be a well over there. Yeah, it does look like an old well. I did see some metal pipes over there. Okay, now I'll get back on the trail. I got a long ways to go. There is a lot of climbing on this trail. And I can hear a thunderstorm over there. I can see some lightning. And there's a trail marker. I'll be running close to the ledge here. Are just stunning right here. This is my favorite part of the trail. You see the cliff that I'm on. That's the cliff over there we just came from, where my campsite was. That was a cliff that I was just on, and that's the cliffs that I was on before. You can see those clouds are almost touching the top of the mountains. I'm going to stop here for a quick drink. It's about 80 degrees out today, and it's very humid. On that little peninsula, there's actually a campsite. Alright, I made it to another sign. And we are right here, almost to the overlook. So at this point, I went just a little over 4 miles. One interesting fact about the Porcupine Mountains, that this is an ancient volcanic area. And I'm standing on one of the lookout areas on the Big Carp River Trail. You see I'm right up on a ledge. Over here we'll have first of the 3 campsites that are up on top of this ridge. It's about maybe 2.25 miles from the Lake of Clouds lookout. You can see it has a nice fire ring here. An excellent view. You get so many beautiful views along this trail. So far I'm about 6.25 miles in. And one thing I remember, there's no water sources on this trail. So you want to make sure you bring enough water. And you can see off in the distance, it looks like the rain's getting a little closer. And you can see a sign here showing there's a campsite in there. That'll be the last campsite on the ridge. Now this will be the end of the ridge, so I'll be going downhill now. I'll be walking in that forest there for about 3 miles until I get to the next junction. They claim that most of the 60,000 acres in the Porcupine Mountains has never been cut before. So this is all old growth trees. And some of the trees date as old as 500 years. And once again you see a view of a cliff from inside this forest. Right down there you have a developed campsite. You see the blue paint spot in a tree. If I remember, you gotta take a right here. It's a little bit tricky, it almost looks like you have to go down that way. And now I'm at the river crossing. It's the same river that we crossed 3 weeks ago. It was about 40 inches deep in the center. You can tell now it looks like it's maybe 14 or 16 inches. I decided to take my shoes off, and this water is cold. And there's a little bit of current. The rocks are very slippery. I am now 9.5 miles into this, and I gotta decide which way I'm gonna go. I have decided to continue on the Big Carp River Trail to Lake Superior. Then I'm gonna do the cross trail down to Greenstone Falls. You see that tree right there? I just watched that tree blow over. And once again, this is where the river crossing is. But there's a tree that blew over right across the river right over there, and I think I'll cross that again. But first of all, I'm going to fill up with some water. I now have my water filtered, and I'll be back on the trail. And that tree crossing will be right over here. And this is the tree. This is Shining Cloud Falls. What a beautiful area. You can see how it's all carved out around here. Here we have another small waterfall on a trail. And this trail continues along this stream for a ways. The bugs are not too bad. There's a few, but I've seen it a lot worse. I have now made it to Lake Superior. And the next trail I'll be taking is the cross trail down to Greenstone Falls. Oh, look at that. This trail will run along the river for a little ways. Looks like maybe a half mile or so. Most of the crossline trail here is forest. It's not much for views. Very few water sources. Look at the size of those woodpecker holes. There's a mess on the ground there. And I'm still on the same trail here. There's a muddy section about half mile or 3/4 of a mile long. It took a while to get through it. Now it's starting to get cloudy out, still windy. I hope the rain holds off for a while yet. I am finally done with the cross trail. That was a long 4.5 miles. Now I'll be taking a little Carp River trail. And Greenstone Falls is 0.4 miles, and that's where I'll get some water. And this will be Greenstone Falls. It's a very beautiful small waterfall. And right now I'm about 18.5 miles into my hiking here. Now this is a nice new bridge that they made. Now right here we have a split in the trail. And I'll be going towards Lily Pond, 2.5 miles away. And now I'm starting to get thunder, lightning, and you can see what my trail looks like. It's all mud through here. Now the last campsite at mile 21 was taken. So now I gotta start heading towards Mirror Lake. I sure hope I find a campsite somewhere in that area. Otherwise I'll just set one up somewhere. I am now inside the half-wet hammock, and it seems to be keeping all the bugs out. So it appears to be working just fine. And I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. It is day 2. You can see there's a fire ring right next to my hammock setup. When I got here last night, I hiked about 23.5 miles yesterday, and it was pouring down rain. And I think that's the heaviest rain I ever set up a tent or hammock in. And you can see I got my hammock set up right up on this ridge. You can see there's a stream down here. It's a good water source. And now I'll get my bear bag down off the pole. And now I'm going to start breaking down a hammock. I want to get on a trail early this morning. I now have the hammock all broken down. I want to make sure I didn't leave anything behind. And now it's time to get back on a trail. Now you can see a beautiful morning sunrise. I am now at Mirror Lake. My plan is to take the Government Peak Trail and back to the parking lot. So we got about 8 miles to go. And this will be Mirror Lake. Here I'm filtering some water. It's a good water source right here. And now I'll be crossing the marsh area. This grass is extremely wet. As you can see, my pants are soaked now. Now this is where I'll be turning. If you go straight here, they'll take you to the Lake of the Clouds. But I'll be taking a right. The Government Peak Trail. 7.5 miles total. At the beginning of Government Peak, you'll find a campsite right up in here. And this is a trail I'll continue on. It's all uphill. This is a trail just came from. It's all uphill. And this is the steepest part, leading up to the top of Government Peak. I am now at the top of Government Peak. You see there's a fire ring right there. And there's another campsite just down in there. And here you can see the ruins of an old cabin. A lot of these cabins are used by rangers many years ago. And there's a Government Peak sign, elevation 1,850 feet. The highest elevation in Michigan is 1979 feet. So it's not that far off. And this will be the other campsite. There's not a whole lot for views up here because there's so many trees, but you see a cliff off in the distance that way. With that breeze, this is a good spot to take a quick break. I am now leaving Government Peak, and this should be the last good climb. And along the trail and near Government Peak there's this pond, and here's a campsite next to that little pond. I'm down in this valley. You can see there's a small running stream. Here I'm coming up to another sign. It's 3.3 miles to that parking lot. And this is where we are right now. Last night I camped right there. Here along the trail we have a stream with cascading falls. Trap Falls. This is the main attraction along Government Peak Trail. The Union Springs Trail actually crosses the river right here, but we'll be heading this direction, 2 miles back to the trailhead. And we have some developed campsites along the river. Another challenge ahead of me. The trails had a lot of mud. One thing I want to check out someday is this overlook trail. Of course, for now, heading back to the trailhead, 0.7 miles. Oh, the trailhead just ahead of me. It's going to feel good to get these wet shoes off and my pack. 32 miles of backpacking in 2 days, including over 20 miles yesterday in the Porcupine Mountains. And once again, thanks for watching Up Trail 71. That was a cliff that I was just on.